What am I going to be doing for Valentine's Day? Well, I'm going to be playing Pokemon games, of course. Why? Well, to remind myself that love clearly isn't important, only the bag. Hey, what's good, Joe? Soul here, and welcome back to my story mode. So, as you've likely ascertained from my Valentine's Day joke, yes, it is officially February, which means that the official countdown for Pokemon Day has begun. This is a massive anniversary year for Pokemon considering it's their 30th, so we are expecting some kind of major blowout showcase. And if it's anything like the 25th anniversary, we might have some good stuff to look forward to. Please, Shanks, let there be another music video. Please! Bump of chicken, cook for us! Anyway, as you've probably seen from the title and thumbnail, I have made it very clear for the last couple of weeks now that I am a little nervous, more so than ever, about this year in particular. I think it's safe to say that I was kind of right in my prediction that Legend ZA was going to be a massive tipping point. With all the mixed reviews, I feel like people were definitely a lot harsher when it came to Legend ZA than they were with Scarlet and Violet, and I completely understand why. After Scarlet and Violet, people just kind of figured there is genuinely no way it can get worse than this. And while I, for the most part, disagree with anybody that says Legend ZA is worse than Scarlet and Violet, I can't argue with the fact that it wasn't as much better as it probably should have and could have been in the grand scheme of things. The last video I put out was actually my comparison between the two games, and Legend ZA wins by a landslide in a lot of different aspects. But this isn't me ignoring the fact that the game is massively overpriced for both base game and DLC, with content that's more or less, for the most part, kind of repetitive, especially for a lot of people that have lost a lot of patience over the years. I'm not ignorant to its flaws, which is why, just like a lot of you guys, I'm waiting on this next Pokemon Day Presents with bated breath. Because here's the thing, like I said in my very first video that I uploaded this year, I do know what to expect for this upcoming Pokemon Day. And that's exactly why I'm a little nervous. But I think we're gonna go ahead and just talk about all of that. So why don't you go ahead, sit down, grab a snack, because we're gonna talk for a minute, maybe some fondue, spread some ketchup on there with some spinach, and grab a nice lukewarm water, because we don't need ice. Get them out of here. They suck. We don't need ice, right? Just break it, smash it, throw it against a wall, because we don't need ice, right? Who needs a cold drink? And let's talk about why I kind of consider this one of the most important Pokemon days ever. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. This is the most important Pokemon Day? What about the 25th anniversary or any of the anniversaries before that? What about the last Pokemon Day Presents, the one that announced Pokemon Legends EA? Didn't you say something very similar? Well, to be fair, I probably did, and I was kind of right because, again, I was assuming that the camel's back was finna break depending on what Pokemon Legends ZA looked like. Difference is, though, for this year, while it is very important for fans, more importantly, it is critical for Nintendo. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure that Nintendo probably has a solid lineup of games for this year that we have yet to see because we have yet to see our first major direct. However, a lot of us are going a little nervous because we don't even know when that direct is actually even coming, because they have dropped a lot of information about individual games that we'd heard about before that probably could have been talked about in a major direct. Mario Wonder Switch 2 Edition got its own major overview trailer. Mario Tennis Fever that drops this month also got its own major overview trailer. The Super Mario Galaxy movie, which easily could have fit into a regular Nintendo Direct, got its own Direct showcasing a trailer. And most recently, we got a full dedicated 20-minute Tamagotchi Life Direct. So a lot of us are sitting here scratching our heads because we're like, guys, this is all critical information that we could have added to a major direct announcing the big lineups for this year. What are we doing here? The only reason that I bring this up and the concern surrounding it is because Nintendo did not have the year that they suspected that they would in 2025 with the release of the Switch 2. Granted, we did just get recent financial reports that tell us that the Switch 2 did sell around like 17.5 or something million units, which is, you know, generally pretty good, still very solid, but not nearly as fast as they were probably expecting, especially post-holiday season. Things are getting a lot more expensive and people need a better justified reason to go out and purchase a $500+ console these days. It's not as easy as it used to be to do something like that, yo. That being said, said, to get things back on track, they need a lot of major releases this year. And the one major release that everybody and their mothers is 100% certain about is Generation 10 this year. Like we've said a million times in the past now, Pokemon is easily one of Nintendo's top 5 heaviest hitters, by and far. And the Pokemon Legends EA data definitely proves that, because it sold a decent 8 point something million units, which in of itself is pretty damn good for a Legends title. But let's be real, the Legends titles are always kind of hit or miss with a lot of people because they're not exactly sure what to expect from those. But when it comes to the mainline generational titles, that is where they are putting all of their bank. And we already know that Generation 10 is going to be a Switch 2 exclusive, which means that depending on the showcase, it needs to get everybody frame 1. It needs to hit very hard. On top of that, they've got a lot of faith rebuilding to do when it comes to the fans. I have never seen a fan base more angry at its own favorite property than Pokemon, and it is not close by any means. And this is coming from a Sonic fan, so please believe the comparisons. But like I've stated a million times by now, this recent release had everybody very upset when it came to Pokemon because it just wasn't enough and it wasn't exactly what they were looking for. And you know, to be fair, for a $70 game, you can't really get mad at them for that. This is way too expensive of a game to just kind of be okay. That's not enough. The next game has to be phenomenal. It has to blow people out of the water. And you know, I have a hard time believing that Generation 10, based on the amount of time that it's been in development probably, is going to be the one to do that. Of course, I pray that I'm completely wrong and that extra year of development really helped out, but I couldn't really tell you. The long and short of it is, it has big shoes to fill in restoring the faith of the fan base, as well as moving some serious unit when it comes to the Switch 2. I mean, come on, I don't think it's crazy to imagine that this big business wants to make up for the losses that it probably wasn't expecting during this holiday season for this upcoming holiday season. Well, not upcoming, but you know what I mean. But then again, this is Nintendo that we're talking about, so as the proclaimed kings of left field, there's really no telling what they were planning and what they are planning for this upcoming year. So we'll have to play it by ear, but regardless, that doesn't make any difference in how important Generation 10 is going to be. Moving on here, there are other certain things that we really need to see go well during this upcoming presentation for other games as well. Generation 10 is the most obvious. It's coming out at the end of this year, no doubt about it. It needs to hit very hard. However, there are other Pokemon releases this year that need to do at least decently. I don't know about you guys, but me personally, I'm nervous, really nervous about Pokopia. I don't want to delve too heavily into this because I want to make another video probably immediately after this talking about my hopes and fears for Pokopia, but the long and short of it is, I really need Pokopia to hit home. Pokopia's success as a spin-off title really will go to show Pokemon Company and other developers that we do want to see more unique takes with the Pokemon franchise that aren't just the mainline titles. You know, I love my Gen 9 and my Legends EA or whatever, but I also love my Pokken Tournament and even my Pokemon Rumble on occasions. People have been clamoring for ages for Pokemon Mystery Dungeon to come back, and I think that there's a reason why it hasn't yet. For a good while there, the mobile market completely took over, which is why we didn't see mostly any real spin-off titles in between the last Mystery Dungeon remake and Detective Pikachu 2. So Pokopia being the closest thing to a real spin-off title that we've seen in ages means that we are probably not even realizing that we're kind of banking on this game. And I don't know about you guys, I can't speak for y'all, but me personally, I can't do another Pokemon Friends. I can't do another Pokemon Sleep. I need real games. So when they inevitably show off this game for the last time before it releases in early March, I really need them to show off this game's sauce. I need them to show off elements that will definitely make it a surefire win for people that purchase this game. Give us something good to chew on while we wait for the next major release in the middle of the year. Of course, obviously, that mid-year release being Pokemon Champions. Pokemon Champions obviously also needs to be some form of successful, mostly for the competitive space. Here's my thing, from the response that I did see for Pokemon Champions, a lot of it wasn't really all that positive. They were just like, okay, well, you know, it's that Pokemon Battle Revolution that we've been waiting for a modern era, but it doesn't look all that great. And again, that's just what I remember hearing. Maybe I was just on the wrong side of things at the time, but I just don't remember hearing anything good after that first initial gameplay reveal for Pokemon Champions. Granted, I'm not as worried about Pokemon Champions being successful because regardless, it doesn't really need to look all that good to do the job that it needs to do, which is be the primary competitive Pokemon game going forward. This is going to be the Pokemon game that we continuously come back to after every generation from now on. After every new generation, with the new batches of Pokemon and the new gimmick that we inevitably receive, it would inevitably come to Pokemon Champions after a certain amount of time. And then we'd be able to have an entire new roster and new toys to play with every time we hop back into it. This is going to serve as the ultimate Pokemon battleground, and it's going to be a massive situation for VGC. Granted, it is just technically glorified Pokemon Showdown because people did this ages ago, but it's official now, meaning that it's going to be very important regardless. Long and short of it is, when they do inevitably show this game off during the Pokemon Day Presents, we need to make sure that we have something good to look forward to. I know a lot of people are very turned off graphically speaking, but as far as mechanics go, I think it could potentially have a lot to offer, but we'll have to see about that one. Now, currently, as far as we know, Pokopia, Pokemon Champions, and Generation 10 are the biggest centerpieces of Pokemon for 2026, which means that each of these games needs to come out swinging this year. Because you gotta remember, when it comes to the video game space, that's technically like the least of Pokemon Company's worries. All of their money comes from cards and general merch in other places. So these three things right here can each speak in a different way on how important the video games are to us. However, for each of these things, I do have something that I am incredibly nervous about, as I've stated already. For example, when it comes to Pokopia, while I think that it looks generally good and that it's really cool that we're getting an actual spin-off after ages of not receiving any, I fear it may have already shot itself in the foot. First and foremost, that price tag is nasty work for a spin-off title. What in the world do you mean that this Pokemon version of Dragon Quest Builders and Animal Crossing hybrid is $70 full? I'm not going to sit here and say that Pokopia doesn't look like decent quality. Koei Tecmo is a very good development company and they have proven that time and time again. But there is no universe in which you are telling me that this game is of the same quality of Donkey Kong Bonanza of all things. How could this possibly be $70? As a spin-off title, it has no actual connection to the mainline series whatsoever, meaning that we're probably not going to be able to utilize it to access Pokemon Home or anything like that. We're not going to be able to get like shiny Pokemon or anything to transfer over, as well as the fact that it's just Pokemon's very simple take on a life sim. And I think it's a cute and neat idea, and I'm really glad that we're experimenting with the franchise like this, but 70 is steep. Even as a PokeTuber, I am kind of on the fence on if I'm actually going to end up getting this game or not. I love Pokemon, I do, but the life sim genre isn't exactly one that I go out of my way to play, ever. New Horizons was obviously an exception given the time that we were in, but you know, even then, the moment, and I mean the moment Persona 5 Royal dropped, I did not touch Animal Crossing pretty much ever again after that. I don't really care for Minecraft. I barely played through all of Dragon Quest Builders 1 or 2. They just weren't really as much as my style as I would have thought, although they were, again, very neat concepts. And that's just it though. This game is just a life sim with the Pokemon gloss over it. You can get this kind of game pretty much anywhere. Hey, Dragon Quest Builders made enough money to fund a second one, so it can't really be all that bad. So as of right now, I can't really see for the life of me as to why they picked that price other than, oh, it's Pokemon, so it's justified. Which it's not, by the way. And next to that, it's a Switch 2 exclusive. Why? How long could this game have possibly been in development for it to be exclusive to the Switch 2? What is happening here? There are now so many Pokemon fans that do love the life sim genre that would absolutely adore this game that have been completely barred out because, as of right now, again, Switch 2, kind of expensive, so not everybody has one. I don't know, I just think that I'd be really shocked if this game actually did somehow manage to meet their sales expectations. But with that price tag and it being exclusive to a console that not everybody has just yet, I don't know how many units they think this game was gonna move like that, but it's not. After that, of course, while I am very much excited for the concept of Pokemon Champions, I can't help but be a little bit concerned about how live service games are being handled this day and age, and how I can't imagine why they wouldn't try to capitalize on that in every way, shape, and form. I mean, come on, it only makes sense. They're gonna have to capitalize on that player base somehow. I just really hope that this truly does end up being like a free-to-play situation overall, and not like a trial situation and then you need to pay a subscription to continue actually playing the game. Or even worse, they hide major mechanics that we're definitely gonna need to actually enjoy the game behind massive paywalls. I can't see them not doing something like that. I know that there's a lot of people, myself included, that really wanted to utilize this opportunity to really get into the VGC and truly understand competitive Pokemon battling. If there's massive paywalls in their way constantly throughout their experience, it's going to turn them away and it's going to sour the Pokemon experience even more than it already is. Call me dramatic. Maybe I am being dramatic, but from a business standpoint, it only makes sense to do something like that to capitalize on the massive player base that's probably going to be flocking in and out of this game for the next coming years. We'll have to see what happens with all that though, but at the very least, if it's going to be functional on mobile, ooh, let's hope that doesn't affect every other version. And then of course, Generation 10. As I've said throughout this video and multiple videos before this, I'm worried about the general standard stuff. Is it going to function well? Is there going to be actual customization available for us? Is it going to be the same general standard situation that we've had with all Pokemon games and it's going to feel a little stale going through it? But nothing, and I really do mean nothing, worries me more than what's likely to be an $80 price tag. Pretty much everybody that knows Nintendo can agree on one thing. The only reason they went out of their way to charge $80 for Mario Kart World is because they thought that they would get away with it solely because it is Mario Kart. Something that people were clamoring for, something that people have been enjoying for the past decade plus since they released Deluxe, which is their most successful game of all time, and they wanted to capitalize on that. As far as the exclusives go, Mario Kart World so far is the highest selling one, at least according to the sales data. However, I very much highly doubt that that data accounts for how many people got the bundle. Because if you got the bundle, Mario Kart World was only technically $50. And I'll be honest with you, boss, full well knowing that not a lot of my friends were going out of their way to purchase a Switch 2, I don't know if I would have gotten Mario Kart World day one if it weren't for that bundle. I'll admit, Mario Kart World is a very well developed game. It's got a lot of solid ideas and a lot of solid concepts that are really fun. However, there is no universe in which this game is worth $80, especially when the one that came before it for $60 with a little bit of DLC added to it years later had a lot more going for it frame one. So in the case of Generation 10, I don't see a universe in which they don't price tag it for $80. It cannot be understated how much of an absolute juggernaut Pokemon is for Nintendo, and Pokemon Company knows that, and I can't imagine they wouldn't both agree that selling it for $80 wouldn't be a waste. They will do that. And with the state the gaming side of the franchise is in right now, and with people's current perception on it, I just don't think that that would be a very good look at all. Ugh. I hope they're not expecting the finest reviews out there, because once people get their hands on it and they actually play through it, I think most people will agree, no matter what, that that game is not going to be worth $80. I actually don't care how good it's going to be. It's not going to be worth $80. I don't even think Legend ZA is worth $70. And I'm already exhausted because I already know that once I get to the post-game era of this game, my comment section is going to be a ballroom blitz. At the very least, Generation 10, it's gotta look damn near perfect at this point, which is a tall pecking order apparently, but for the likely price that they're going to be charging it, you know, me and a lot of other people probably wouldn't think so. So I think that's only a fair ask, that this game is presented in a proper form. It looks finished, it looks like it's going to run well, and it looks like it has something to actually offer. All in all, this Pokemon Day, everything that they're going to present here is going to be absolutely critical for everything going forward in regards to this franchise. Because, again, not to be dramatic, but I genuinely believe that we are in for the worst era of Pokemon. I really do. The conversations are going to be toxic as hell. It's just going to get bad. It's going to be a bloodbath. People are going to be mad, upset, angry that they are doing everything they can to stretch every penny possible out of their consumers just because they know that they love this franchise. And I just pray that there is some molecule of sense up at Pokemon Company when it comes to the games that they're releasing this year. Pokemon Pokopia, we need it to sell well, which means they have to have something to offer in that game to justify that $70. When it comes to Pokemon Champions, hopefully not everything is hidden behind a massive paywall that makes it impossible to enjoy without shelling out money. And Generation 10, hopefully it's not $80, but if it is, this has to be the best generation we have seen by and far. It cannot even be close. The 30th anniversary, man. Phew. Hopefully we come out of it happier campers than we did last year, but hey, you know what? Maybe that's just me. So that just about wraps it up for this one. The next time we talk about Pokemon Day in particular and like everything that we're expecting for this upcoming year, it's going to be a discussion video. It's going to be a response video. So keep an eye out for that community tab because I will be posting there soon enough, probably a little bit closer, like the week before Pokemon Day, just so that everybody can get their thoughts in and stuff like that before we inevitably talk all about how we're feeling in regards to this upcoming year, and we can go from there. And then I'm going to do my best to live stream the event this year. It just makes more sense. It just makes sense to live stream it because there's no reason for me to just record it and put it up hours later. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to go ahead and just do that. So keep an eye out for that as well. But for the most part, that just about wraps it up for all of my thoughts in regards to this. So I'm passing the mic over to you guys, and I want you guys to tell me everything that you're thinking in the comment section below. Do you agree that this is an extremely important Pokemon Day? You are also a little nervous about what's going to be showcased here and how it's going to play out with people and, you know, just how everything is going to go, generally speaking? Or are you on the opposing side of things? I'm being dramatic. It doesn't really matter. It's really exciting. You're looking forward to it, and it's going to be a good time had by all. Tell me everything that you guys are thinking in the comment section below, because you know for a fact that I'm always going to be down there with you guys. But with that, it does appear to be skedaddle o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and do exactly that. I'd like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Doing the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this here. And with that, I'm gone. So thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor of taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!
So can't handle us, so cool, baby, scandalous. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So cool, baby, watch it now. It's a you. Can't handle us.